Hey, welcome back to the channel. Randomized recently made some big changes to the high roller dungeons, so in this video I'll be talking about my opinions on the changes while showing you some ranger PvP in the background, and then I'll shift into some commentary over the PvP. As a spoiler, I do kill someone with a deathbloom in this video, but as always, there's timestamps below. Hope you enjoy. First I'll touch on the randomized goblin caves and ruins, since those seem to be less polarizing for the community. Overall, I really like the random modules. At this point, many of us long-term players have been playing the same maps with the same mobs and the same chests in the same spots for years. In my opinion, this is what's contributed to all of the third parties we were seeing before this patch. All of the experienced players knew exactly which modules and extracts to go camp to maximize their chance of some free loot. But with random dungeons pushing some of the old points of interest to the corners of the map, now you have to go explore different connections of modules to find people. I will say that normals having Fog of War is an L in my opinion. Fog of War and random dungeons makes it very hard to reliably do the bosses in solos, and even in trios it can be tough to navigate across the entire map while encountering players. But besides that, I really like the random dungeons. Definitely the most controversial part of the patch was bringing back the Battle Royale style zone that Randomized calls the Swarm, and removing the Goblin recovery service from High Roller. When the Swarm was initially removed, I was actually sad. I liked the excitement that the zone could cause at the end of a round where multiple greedy players all converge into the same area to fight for a portal. I understand why they removed it though, because you could get very unlucky with the zone and portal spawns, and then just die in some very unfortunate way that's mostly out of your control. When they first announced they were bringing back the Swarm, I was super excited. I figured that the Goblin recovery service would provide a solution for all those unfortunate deaths, and the Swarm would be a great way to push people into each other. But unfortunately, to embrace the hardcore nature of the game, they also disabled the Goblin recovery service for High Roller. After playing with these changes for the past week or so, I think they're good changes for the game with a few caveats. The zone is a great way to push players into each other, and if you really want to avoid people, you can invest in a lot of meds and just camp the Swarm. In my opinion, Swarm camping is a little bit too easy. I would prefer it if the Swarm did more damage, but that doesn't really affect me since I prefer to just get to the middle of the zone and look for action. Not having the Goblin recovery service anymore was definitely frustrating at first. Unless you extract from the dungeon, your gear is gone forever. But after the first day or two of the changes, the economy started to change a lot. Gear and gems were becoming a lot more expensive due to the sheer amount of gear getting deleted. I think this is great for the game. The last couple of wipes have had so much gear inflation that players can be wearing best-in-slot gear less than a week into a brand new wipe. Removing the Goblin recovery service won't entirely fix that, but I think it's a step in the right direction. The brutal part of removing it is new players will be very disincentivized to start learning High Roller, since they will lose lots of gear while they try to learn with the new mobs and deal with aggressive players. I think a nice middle ground would be to have the Goblin recovery service return half of the gear that would have been lost to the dungeon. That way we are still deleting a lot of gear out of the game, but those unfortunate deaths feel a lot less bad. Whether you like the changes or not, I do know one thing for sure. Randomized does their best to listen to the community. I personally hope the Swarm is here to stay, but I'm confident that if enough players are upset about it, they will reverse their decision, as I've done in the past many, many times. Anyways, that's all I have to say about the patch for now, so let's get into some commentary. I'm fighting a warlock here. He phantomized right when I pull out my quadruple shot, but luckily with this build I think I had like 228 movement speed or something. I'm able to keep up with him, but he is also very fast. Crazy curse hit, but he's not pushing me, so I decided to just hit this for free. Warlocks can be a pretty tough matchup, and I find the best way to deal with them for me is to just be super aggressive. So try to get a couple of chip shots, and then just get in there real close with the spear. Phantomized again, which, I mean, come on, Phantomized is so annoying. Let's make that cooldown longer. Thankfully, I got him. If I'm not mistaken, this guy was pretty geared. And just as a side note, I'm not going to show all the gear I get from these kills, just the ones that were a little bit more higher value. Alright, the moment we've all been waiting for. This is the deathbloom fight. I did fight him for a second in this room. That's why all these mobs are aggroed. I ended up closing him out just to just reset these mobs. So I do know there's a rogue over there. And right there he just popped invis, so I'm just going to wait that out. Trying to hit his arm while he's closing the door. It's a really fun strategy with this survival bow. And he pushes. Hit 3 of those. Another one that probably saved my life. And that goblin breaking that door is actually like an insanely clutch moment for me. So I pull out the spear, and if I see him start walking towards me with chase, I'll just start poking. I'm just waiting him out. Trying to play it patiently. And he's dead. Deathbloom down. This clip, I was fighting that guy above, but I hear a warlock behind me, so I decided I should probably deal with this guy first. Like I mentioned earlier, my favorite way to deal with warlocks is to just get right up in their face. Because they usually do that, and once they don't have Phantomized anymore, it's a pretty easy fight. I think he actually killed himself with a curse there. This is the last clip of the video. I'll just let it play out. Thank you a lot if you made it this far in the video. I really appreciate it. And as always, take it easy.